Today we have a world-renowned Formula 1 photographer on camera, none other than Kym Illman. Kym, welcome to the show.
It's good to be on your show.
I understand you got involved in Formula 1 in 2016. Could you explain how that came about?
Well, I actually paid to be a Red Bull guest at the final race of the year in Abu Dhabi in 2016. And I was standing down in the garage and I had the headphones on. I could see Daniel Ricciardo in the car in front and he was talking to his race engineer. And it was quite a lovely, surreal experience. And I thought, I'd like to photograph this sport. And that's what, I guess, gave me the impetus to approach F1 and tell them what I thought I could do for them. And flukily, luckily, they liked what I had to say and accredited me for the first testing session next year, and then the first race, and then race by race. And so once you do 14 races, you get a permanent pass.
But what did you tell them that you could do for them?
I think I'm a pretty good marketer, and I would, without a doubt, I focus differently. Most of the other guys in the paddock would be focused on the cars, whereas I've no interest really in the cars. I take car photographs, but more so the people side of things, and it's turned out to be very popular.
Well, that's one of my questions. You especially focus on the human side of the drivers. Why did you make that particular choice?
Well, if you go to an F1 race, typically you've got 2 one-hour sessions in a day of F1 cars, and that's a lot of other time to be doing something else. So I would just focus on drivers arriving, walking around the paddock, interacting with others, going to press conferences, leaving and such. And then it was only, I think, mid-2018 that I decided, after my son suggested that I should be doing Instagram, that I started that. I didn't like it much at all. But I did it, and now we've got 500,000 followers. And then about a year later, I think it was, he suggested that I do YouTube, and thought, okay, we'll give that a crack. And now we've got 360,000 followers there. So those are the 2 primary platforms that I spend most of my time on.
You're very popular, right?
Well, if you do what I do for 7 seasons every day, you'd be the same popularity, but probably more because you're younger.
We're here at the Dutch Grand Prix, and you've traveled the world with Formula 1, experienced various venues. Where would you rank this event?
I like it. I like it for the crowd mainly, and also the track's nice and small, which is great for people like me who have to get around it. It's a unique environment here down on the beach. Windy, unfortunately, but I live in a coastal town in Western Australia, so I know wind, and when it rains it's not much fun, but I love the crowd, I love the atmosphere. I think it's some really nice shots. I just wish this hotel was a lot cheaper than it is to stay in because it's ideally placed and it's getting very old.
How is the infrastructure in the paddock for you, and are there any challenges you encounter?
This is a very unusual paddock because you've got a very long gap between the hospitality suites and the garage, and it's not ideal. Look, it's tough photographing because there are 3 different places a driver can go to in the morning, 2 swipe gate entries into the paddock and 1 straight to the garages. So we've got a 1 in 3 chance of seeing the drivers, and that's tough, whereas some tracks there's only 1 entry. But on the plus side, it means that there are fewer photographers at each of those spots, so perhaps you've got a better chance of getting a unique picture. So it has pros and cons.
Going into the sport, Jack Doohan has been confirmed this week by Alpine. I think Australia can be proud on 3 F1 drivers in the sport. How does Doohan compare to Piastri and Ricciardo on terms of speed or personality?
On track, no idea. I don't really take much interest in their on-track performance, but personality, he sits between Daniel and Oscar. Oscar's very calm, quiet, has a great sense of humour, but he's not Daniel Ricciardo out there. Jack, I think, will be a good addition. And yeah, you're right, we are punching above our weight. 15% of the drivers coming from our country with just, 29 million people. That's a good effort.
I've heard that you heard a rumour about Daniel Ricciardo possibly replacing Sergio Pérez. Could you elaborate on that?
Look, we talk all the time in the paddock, and we're thinking Daniel could get the Sergio seat. Look, I'm just telling you what I hear from others because I'm not privy to this, but there's a chance after Mexico they'll say, right, if Sergio's not doing well, perhaps they'll take Sergio out because he's fulfilled his excitement with the Mexican fans. Put Daniel in, Liam might get the early drive there, but of course now we're looking at Logan Sargent maybe being replaced Monday.
Is there one particular photo you're the most proud of?
A lot of people ask that, and it's very hard to come up with one, but the one I always go to, because it's perhaps more memorable, is one that's on my phone. This one here of Daniel Ricciardo coming, you probably won't be able to pick that up, but it's coming onto the grid in Hockenheim.
2019?
2019, and it's a unique picture in so much as, to get this photo, 4 or 5 things have to go right. You have to have rain, you have to be able to have the cars coming onto the grid, you've got to have a grandstand close behind, and you've got to have a second car also showing motion by the wheels spinning up water. All those came together, and a lot of people say it looks like you're standing on the track, and I am standing on the track because it's when the cars come around to the grid to form up. I've not been able to replicate it since. And look, when I get shots like Monaco coming out of the tunnel, which I just love, that shot is so pure. Hungary coming up the hill with the trees behind is beautiful. So yeah, there's lots of shots that I love, but a lot of the time it's just shot after shot after shot, just waiting for something to happen. And you wait long enough and you sit yourself in the right spot, you can get lucky. The great photographers are the ones that can recognise a potential great shot. And the more I do this, the more I get a feeling for it. Because you've got to remember, I never shot cars before I started with Formula One. I came straight in here as a very raw photographer. But the longer you do it, you work out, yeah, you've got to be there, you can't be there, you've got to move 2 metres to the right, you've got to be a little bit higher, a bit lower, and the light has to be right. So it's always learning. Even for the best guys, they're always learning.